Welcome everyone. Welcome to another session of Case.com Lab. And today we are going to decode, or I'll say sharing the secrets of Coca-Cola Mantra Challenge. So I'll start with the starting itself. Like you all know, like every year, thousands of MBA students came across the country registered for Coca-Cola Mantra Challenge, right? But among those students, only few became the national finalists. And today we have someone who has done the exactly and she aced the challenge, and she is Mehak Tomar. So I'll welcome you all, Mehak Tomar from XIMB, and she is the national finalist of Coca-Cola Mantra Challenge 2025. Welcome, Mehak.
Hi, Abhilasha. Hi, everyone.
We are really
So,
excited to have you here.
thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So before we go ahead, I would like to Mehak to introduce or give a brief introduction about yourself.
Okay, so hi, everyone. My name is Mehak, and I'm currently pursuing my MBA from XIMB, Bhubaneswar. Before this, I completed my graduation in business economics. I have always had a strong interest in case competitions, and I think they push you really hard to think on your feet. And in context of MBA, they're also a real opportunity to build your profile. And actually, you could land up into a meaningful internship in that sense. So, yes, that's a brief about me.
That's really nice. So before we move ahead, there are a lot of students who are not aware about Coca-Cola Mantra Challenge, like what it is and how the are there and what are the stages that we have to cross. So can you tell us about what is actually Coca-Cola Mantra Challenge is?
So basically, when we talk about MBA, there are multiple case competitions happening, right?
Yeah.
So if in specifically we talk about Coca-Cola Mantra Challenge, last year we had like 4 or 5 rounds. This year also, as I've gone through the rounds, they have been similar, but they have changed a little bit. So basically, giving you a brief, Coca-Cola Mantra Challenge is a great opportunity through which you could just land up into your dream company to go through a very exhaustive process, I would say, but it's a really worth one. So everybody has a mandate in the first year of MBA to get into a good SIP, that is summer placements.
Yeah.
And there are multiple case competitions that are happening. So through that, companies want to take the brightest minds. So they don't go to the campus individually, rather they conduct these kind of case competitions. One of them is Coca-Cola. Now they have started doing this on a national level. Earlier they used to do it campus-wise. They used to go to the campus and then hire. But now it's been different. They have this national platform where you could just apply and just clear the rounds, and then finally you'll land up somewhere in the interview if you did great, and you could, well, go to the company and then get a chance to have an SIP with them. So that is a brief about Coca-Cola.
So is it different from like since you have been part of 2025 challenge and this year it's 2026, did they make any changes or any differences are there in both the years?
Yes, I think they have made quite a bit changes, like in the amount, starting with the stipend amount. They give a very good amount as stipend for 2 months of internship. So they have increased from 5 lakhs to 6 lakhs for 2 months. Then they have introduced quite a bit prizes and rewards this time. Like there have been first, second, third, and then there's runner-up. Then they have given like excellent performers. Last year we only had merchandise, like the national finalist got only the merchandise of Coca-Cola. That was also first time in the history they were giving merchandisers to the national finalists, but they're increasing the level of competition, I would say. So it's great. You could just go and check out once on the Unstop page. They have whole list of rewards and prizes there.
So how did you get to know about Coca-Cola Mantra Challenge? Like, since I know you mentioned in first year we were very pressed upon like to go for SIPs and
Uh,
even placements in some committees flawed these challenges in emails to via emails.
True.
So how did you get to know about?
So as soon as I got into my MBA college, I was always on radar because actually Coca-Cola Mantra Challenge happens a way before. Like when you
Yeah.
just start the college, you'll get the call for the interview if you have cleared. So I was constantly browsing through Unstop, looking for competitions, and for the first year, it was a strong SIP goal is for everybody. Everybody's chasing for that. And then the Mantra challenge stood out with the real industry one. So it was more your placecom also informs you a lot about it and they pushes you to participate in that. So I think it was the emails. If you subscribe Unstop, you get a lot of emails. So they remind you of each deadlines and those kind of thing. And second source was LinkedIn. A lot of posts started coming in starting of June itself for the third round, that brand ambassador one. So yeah, that was one of the information source for me for Coca-Cola Mantra.
So now let's start with the rounds. So as I heard that firstly they have this LinkedIn moment round in where you have to do the hashtag of Coke ambassador talking about Coca-Cola iconic marketing campaign. So how did it went and what's the approach a student has before going for this LinkedIn post?
So last year we did not have any themes. This year do have themes, like there are 4 to 5 themes I think under which they have to prepare their LinkedIn post. But last year we did not had any themes. So my instinct was not to make it about the product itself, but it was about everyone was going to do that anyways. So I thought of leaning into some different universe. I made a Coca-Cola universe. It was like there were different zones and there were 5 zones where I made memory lane, cultural movements, emotions, and I've built it across decades, what it has done for 150 years. So I picked up campaigns that genuinely resonated across different cultures because they have hyper localized themselves in different parts of the world. So that was my thinking. But there were other posts as well that stood out. Like there were people who made magazines out of it. So a lot of creativity was shown at that time. So that was my link about my LinkedIn post.
So, let's say this year, if any student is going ahead with their LinkedIn post, should they follow most like a unique idea, or is it like they should pick one product out of Coke itself and any marketing campaign they are doing, and they should start building upon them? What you will suggest?
According to my experience, I think going generic is not something they expect out of you because they are purely a marketing company. If you have studied a lot about Coca-Cola while doing this challenge, you'll get to know more about how they have survived. Marketing is the key. So, in my opinion, it would be better if you go with something unique because it is a part of a round. You get eliminated here. If you have not performed well or you have just done for the sake of it, do not do that. Because this was the point where even I was hesitant because I was not someone who was, following up on LinkedIn that much. It
Yeah,
was first time for me as well posting something. So a lot of people did not post because they were a bit shy, but that is not how it works. It had to be something unique, and you need to share your opinions because the more you share, the more your profile also gets into different leaders get to know about it. So
yeah, true.
what in a nutshell I'm trying to say is go with something unique, have something unique idea, and work on the post. Treat it as a round. Do not do something just for the sake of doing it.
But today's, students using AI a lot. So if somebody is going ahead with AI, they'll just create something and they just post it. So would you suggest like using AI to a limited extent or
No, no,
build a
definitely. I
whole?
would suggest use AI as much as you can because even in my internship, I have like a heavy hold on AI. Like AI generated images, they should go for it. But they should understand that the AI is not going to do anything. The idea
Hmm.
they are putting in, they'll have to ultimately come up with an idea that they are putting in, and then they will get the output. So even if you are using AI, like I also generated my post using AI, but then the idea was mine. That uniqueness was mine. So
Yeah.
if you want to do it through AI, you want to do it through Canva, you want to do it through any app, you can. But the idea should be unique because what you are posting, a lot of people see. Because even I went to my LinkedIn and searched Coca-Cola Mantra Challenge, and I used to see what posts people are doing so that it doesn't overlap. I should be unique. So that is the thought.
That's really nice. So you posted it and it goes live. What happened after? Like, did you get any response? Like
Yeah,
any signal that it was working? So how did it went?
yeah. It went really well. I think Unstop was taking a track of it and Unstop was commenting. If it was a good post, they were commenting on it, and then your post gets, higher and higher. It gets
And
a good reach, which is a very good point to start in MBA because it all happens in June, yeah, right? The timeline is very quick. So yeah,
true, it's very
worth it.
true. So after Okay, we'll take the questions later towards the end. So now the question is then once you cleared it, round one is done. So what was the feeling after that moment and how did you start preparing for round two?
Uh, so basically, like the rounds were like first was this non-eliminatory round, and then it
Yeah,
went down, right? So it was a good feeling, but the I think hardest round is simulation when it
yeah,
comes down to it. So that was the only part that I was very concerned because the simulation round we had no clue. There are no videos, there are no information because that was done earlier as well, but it was not done on a national level like they were doing it now. So I was a bit hesitant that, okay, now this is cleared, but then how to go about in the next round? So I started using AI. I started using AI to get into because there's just some cues that they have given, right? You are an ASM of an area of an FMCG
yeah.
company. Now you will have to, it's very broad, like how to go about it. So I just tried, I talked to a lot of people who have done simulation in their courses because people who have done management, they would have been a bit familiar with simulation, but I was not because I was a fresher and economics that too. So I used AI a lot for practicing different scenarios, and I was being consistent to develop a thinking what ASM would do if this happens, is that happen, different scenarios. So I was consistent with that going. So that was it. After I think this round was cleared.
So let's say you talk about business simulations that had happened. So you put into an online simulation. They ask you to imagine that you are an ASM, as you mentioned. So how did you strategically prepare for this? Like you have talked to ASM peoples, or are you like should like now you can connect on LinkedIn with those people who are already in industry, right? So
Correct.
in your time, you have talked to people who have done simulation. So should
Yeah.
students connect with those people who are into the industry and ask them because they are actually in field.
I would say definitely they should do it because that's a good exposure. Again, that is a good starting point for you.
Yeah,
I also got connected, like some of my relatives were already in this line, so I talked to them, like, how does it work on ground? Because you really need to have a sense there, because then you'll be caught off guard. It's just not about numbers when you're doing about simulation. It
yeah,
is about thinking and knowing different formats. So what I would suggest is that firstly go through the FMCG company, like research about it. A thorough research is needed when you are prepping for this. And what is the
yeah,
role of ASM in that? Because ASM has a lot of responsibilities, and
yeah.
just learning them would not help because you'll need to apply them. That is the hardest part in the simulation as well. You should know the application part, otherwise you won't be able to do it. So I would suggest, yes, you should go and talk to people. Even the retailer and distributor, you could go to
Yeah.
them in any store. You would get a lot of insights that would help you crack this.
Okay, one more question I have. When we talk about simulations, it can be both way, either descriptive and MCQ form as well. So was it MCQ in your during your time or was it more towards the descriptive type?
Coming to that part, actually, that was very how to put in exactly. It was very demanding because I think we were given just 1 hour and we had 3 rounds. And it had like so many variables, like different GT formats, and you had to put in, a lot of efforts in understanding that there were so many products, then there were so many
Yeah.
formats, and in round one, you have you some. It did not work for me. I was firstly using pen and paper to just, getting all the answers, like the numeric answers. It was not at all MCQ. It was something that you have to
No.
put in numbers.
Okay.
It was a
Understood.
proper simulation. So first 15 minutes I wasted, then I switched to Excel immediately that this is not working because there are so many products I would not be able to get it through. And then there are 3 rounds. So at the first round completion, you'll get to know what are your profits, where are you standing in that universe, what are the ROI for each product. So something like that summary comes up. So you get to know a sense of where are you standing after each round. So it was not at all MCQ. It was not, I would say, a descriptive, but it was more on both the sides that you should get a sense of what an ASM would do at this point of time and a situation based. Like this is what it is, and there are so many products. How would you go about it? So
So,
something like that.
yeah, you mentioned like they should get insight by talking to distributors, retailers, and apart from them, how they can practice it. Was it more like a guesstimate thing? Like they can go ahead with it and they can understand the situation.
Okay, no, I wouldn't say it's a purely guesstimate thing. Yes, there was a guess. If you could crack the numbers, if you could crack a distribution of how to go about the margins, or how to go about what kind of margin has to be applied in what kind of store format. That
True.
is very important. You should know which store matters to FMCG more. Is it GT, MT, or any other store? You should be aware with that. What an ASM would do, you should also be aware of that. Because sometimes they put you in a situation where it's not ASM role and then you blindly do it. So that would be one part. And I would say, yes, that is it. You should see from where I'm coming is I practiced it with the help of AI, but
Hmm.
through AI, I was not able to get the simulation out of it. I was just getting into a flow that okay, an ASM would do this, 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 so that I'm in that loop that I was not caught off guard. Ki, oh, in this situation, what I would do. So from that perspective, if you get consistent, eventually you will get there. That is what I would say.
Great. So after the simulation round has happened, what was the third round about?
So after simulation, it's direct resume submission and then it's interview.
It's interview PPI.
Yeah.
That's really nice. So, how was the feeling after you became the nationalist? So, what are the advantages that a nationalist would get? Like their participation certificates, any prizes or anything? Because since this year they have come up with this runner-up and everything is there. So, this year, how should student approach it? Like even if they'll not ace it, at least they'll be in runner-up or first or second position.
I think this year they have become more better. That's what Coca-Cola always does. Last year, we did not have a lot of incentive. Like, we get to connect with a lot of people. Like, we had the PPI interview. I would say, as a fresher, that was also a very big thing for me because as soon as you get into your MBA, you have this interview if you cracked it. So, it's one of the biggest opportunities out there. So even if you do not get a chance to work with them, you do have a chance to interact with them and to get what the culture is, to ask them questions at the end of your interview. You'll get a lot of insights from them. You get to get their merchandise, you get to write the title, you get a resume pointer, and it's very effective. I'm telling you, it's very effective in your resume when you write that you're a national finalist of any competition, any case competition. It makes a
Absolutely.
difference. Yeah, so
That's true. It will give you talking points in interviews as well. When they see, okay, you've done in that to one of the biggest FMCG. So, one more question. When you mentioned about LinkedIn post, how many posts do we have to make?
it's just one. Even I made
Okay.
with 14 slides. There were 14 slides. I don't think so. They put on a number that how many slides you could make. It could be one slide or it could be many slides. Depends on totally on your idea and how exaggerative you are going to be about. So yeah.
Okay. And how long does this simulation last? Like, what was the timing for simulation?
In my case, it was as far as I remember, it was 1 hour. And you have to be really fast in thinking because even if you top 2 rounds, it would be nothing if you did not complete the third round. So 3 rounds need to be completed.
And when you mention about PPI offers, will they give you any option? Because generally, some pre-MBA programs, some companies give you offers that you have two options to select from as an intern, right? So how does Coca-Cola PPI looks like?
I don't think so. They give you any options. They directly just have interviews and then you get in there. After that process, I'm not that much aware that what happens exactly in their SIP, but I know they got a great experience. Like the exposure is very great. My friends are working there and they have been like great exposure. It's great. So yeah.
So anyone advice for the students who are going to approach this, like this year, who are going for Coca-Cola Mantra Challenge?
I would just say that when you are entering into MBA, the first year is going to be very, very hectic for everybody. And the pressure of having SIP would be the biggest add-on. So through this challenge, you could just get into college, and within first or second week, you'll have your SIP in your hands. So the harder you try, the better you get. So I would say try getting placed through these case competitions. You get a lot of learning through it. So
True.
even if you do not get a PPI through this, you'll get a lot of learning that you'll apply to next simulation or something like that. Because a lot of companies are nowadays doing this simulation thing. A lot of companies. So yeah, it's a great way to get land in
Very,
internship.
very true, Mehak. One last question. I wanted to ask, like, since you're a national finalist, what is that one thing that you felt was missing during your time, which stopped you to be in that PPI offers?
That is something really, that I thought about. That was firstly, uh, it was guesstimates, to be honest. I was not aware about guesstimates, which I think everybody should be aware before going to MBA, because guesstimates come after a very long time, like a month or
Yeah.
so, then you get to know about guesstimates. So the earlier you would know, the better you could crack the interviews, because in interviews they would definitely ask you about guesstimate. In all of our interviews that my batchmates also had, they were asking about different kinds of guesstimates. So I
So
would,
now let's once you submitted your resume, and since we are some are freshers, some do have a work experience in quite good companies. So how did the screening process happens, or was it like did they put any bar there, like we can select this many people only to the next round?
I don't think so that is the case. If you have cleared the simulation, you will somehow get to the interview. You get the interview. After that, they might have something internally, but that was not communicated externally. In our case, I think the people who were selected for interview were from very diverse backgrounds. Some were freshers, some were not fre some were from designing, some were having experience of 3 years in operations. So it's very, I would say, different. I think they believe in diversity, and there's no bar for after simulation. There's no bar. It's pure merit how you get there.
That's
And after interview also, it's pure merit. It could be like that. They might see that th this person is not a fit for us, something like that on basis, but not a bar that's been communicated.
That's quite nice because there are a lot of students who feel at times that since they're coming from a very different background, anyway, they're going for MBA, so will they accept it or not? So now comes to the interview process. What sort of questions they really ask?
The interview is super chill. Those people are at very high positions, I would say, and they are very, very nice to you. They make you very comfortable. It starts with an introduction. Mine started with an introduction. Then they asked me about my LinkedIn post, which I elaborated upon. They asked me how did I get the idea, why this idea, and then there was why Coca-Cola brand, which brand did you like, which campaign did you follow, what do you think about different brands? And there were some confusing questions like you should know what their brands are because they are into other things also like minute and non-aerated drinks, that type. So why not that? There were a lot of grilling on that part. And then they asked us to they wanted to know what kind of image does Coca-Cola have in our mind and why. So first half was purely dedicated towards Coca-Cola, how much we know about it, campaigns, and each and everything they would judge. Second half was totally about guesstimate, which I think I did not do a lot well in that section because it was very new to me. But they were very supportive. If I was not able to come to an answer, they were trying to narrow it down and, bring me to that answer.
Yeah.
So yeah, it lasted for 20 to 25 minutes.
That's quite nice. So when you mention about interview part, was it like how one should start preparing for it? Because at now the time after they completed their simulation, they is it like more knowledge toward the Coca-Cola company, or you should be aware about yourself, apart from that guesstimate you mentioned, right? But how important it is to learn about the FMCG company itself?
I think it is very important. I the with the brands coming up right now, like everybody would know Campa is coming, right? So Campa, Pepsi, and Coca-Cola, these three are having a tough fight in the FMCG sector right now. So it is very important for you to know because one of the batchmate of mine was asked about Campa and Coca-Cola because they were having a lot of distributor and retailer fights. So that is something that you should be aware of what is going on with that company in that particular point of time, and you should be aware of yourself as well. And I think lastly, but the most important was your structured thinking. During guesstimate, they are not looking for an answer. They're just looking how structured thinking you have. So the answer you gave with more structured thinking, the chances of you getting selected could be higher than the other person.
Yeah, that's really nice. So now that we have come to the end, we will like to take questions for the students.
Yeah,
So
sure.
there is one question Shreyans has asked, when's the best time to post for the LinkedIn post, he is asking. Since you mentioned, and I guess we heard that the registration link deadline is 2nd of July, right? So this is a quite a huge time and still the registration going on. So when once students should start thinking and when should they start posting it?
I think as soon as you get that dead once the one round deadline is over, you could move to the next round. Or in my case, I waited for a while. I wanted to look at how other people are going around the same thing, like what are their ideas, and I wanted to get some more ideas to get creative. So it could be anywhere, I think mid-June or something. As in, if you're asking the exact timing at LinkedIn when you should post, that depends on your reach and
Absolutely.
analytics.
Absolutely. Now here comes the second question. He
Yeah.
asks, is ASM the only main role during simulation? And what are the specific changes should make in the resume when it's time? Oh, sorry. What is the time limit given for trivia? They're asking.
Okay. Okay, that three parts of the
So,
question.
yeah, we'll start with first question. Is ASM the only main role during simulation?
Yes, area sales manager is the only main role.
Okay.
It is the retail part of it. So yes.
And second question is, what are the specific changes one should make in their resume to get selected?
I should not be the one commenting, to be honest, because it's your Placecom who will guide you. Because through Placecom only, Coca-Cola approaches your campus, and they would be the one guiding you what to do it. But if you want something from my end, I would say try to get a lot of hobbies because interest, that is something a lot of people lack in. So the more you have, you more talking points you would have in your resume.
True, true, absolutely true. And what is the time limit given for trivia? He's asking.
I don't remember exactly, but it would be around 45 minutes.
Now there's another question. How analytical you have to be in the LinkedIn post?
You'll have to be a bit creative, I would say, not analytical, because it's about creativity. In my
True.
opinion, Coca-Cola is more about being creative, showing your creativity, and that is a platform for you to do it. So you could have a lot of talking points out of that in your interview, in your final interview.
So they also asked like they went for a more of a emotional nostalgic route for their iconic Coke studio. So for that they're asking like should they go for analytical as well or would it be fine to go for emotional nostalgic route?
No, it's fine. It totally depends on your approach, how you want to present it, right? At the end of the day, it's you and you are unique, and your creativity is also going to be unique according to you. So, whatever way you feel that you could justify, if they ask you, okay, what did you make in your LinkedIn post or why? The whatever goes with you, whatever thinking you are clear in. So, you don't have to post, I think, twice or something.
Okay. So Akshit has also asked, is SIP particularly for marketing specialization or finance would benefit as well?
No, it is not just for marketing specialization, I think. It is the firstly, the background doesn't matter to which you are coming. Secondly, they did not mention. It's just summer intern for you. You'll get to know once you are done. And I'm very sure that they would get you the specialization of your choice only.
True, true. So there's one more question. We have already answered this, John. How many posts can we and should we post? It's one only.
Yeah.
He asked another question, how to prepare for the quiz? Is it little
Like creating a fake
creating
account.
a fake account trick?
I think for the quiz, it's non-eliminatory this time also. So you don't have to, like, they have their Instagram page Unstop. They would keep posting the hints. So you'll get it anyways. So it's not that tough. You'll get it.
So in quiz, I have one more question. When they give hints, I guess by the time lot of students have already cracked the whole quiz. So was it like they'll select initial 100 students,
No, no.
or is it like everybody is selected who
It is
passed?
non-eliminatory round. Everybody has to go through. It's better if you go through, you'll get a lot of insights on that. In that, that is it. This time they have, I think, distribution among different themes also. Last time they it was generic, but this time they have different themes. I was just when I was going through their Unstop platform.
That's it. I guess we are done with the Q&A part. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
First of all, thank you, Mehak. This was everything, actually. Thank you for coming on CaseCom Lab and for being this open with your journey and for giving everyone listening a real, honest, and behind the scene look at what the Coca-Cola Mantra Challenge actually is. To everyone who are listening and who are going to watch this video, if this episode made you think, I want to do that, the feeling is your answer. Go register, prepare, go embrace yourself in round one if you have to. The only way to get to national is to start. So subscribe to Casecom Lab wherever you get your podcast. And if you feel there is someone who need this information, just share it with them. Thank you, Mayank, and we'll see you in next episode.
Thank you.
I guess there is one more question.
Yeah. Is it
Abhishek,
necessary to go through case studies before joining? Uh, that depends on your priority, to be honest. In my case, case competitions were my priority because I wanted to go about that. Studies came second to me. I was more focused on getting my SIP done and get a real exposure because in my opinion my approach to MBA was slightly different, but your approach could be different. You want to put your academics first and then case studies along with that. It gets difficult to maintain both. I think Bilasha would also agree to that. It becomes really difficult.
absolutely,
So yes,
absolutely, I agree with
depends on
you.
your approach. It's
Good.
unstop.
Yeah,
It's
true. It's
unstop.
unstop. You should keep a check on unstop and you'll get all the information.